to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
Chilling, man. Chilling.
Oh, that's good. Chilling's a good place to be.
Yeah.
And we are streaming live. Let me get that together. We are streaming live on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, LinkedIn, I think Twitter too. I have to check my Twitter feed during the show and see. But I think I did add Twitter, as well as LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. You can always go to YouTube, check us out. Please like, share, and subscribe to Empower TV Network. Would definitely appreciate that. Thanks for everybody that tunes in live and those that can't tune in live to come back and check out the show. It is greatly appreciated. Please share, spread the word rather, that me and Rand do this every single week live at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. And then we have our main show on Thursdays at 7 p.m. as well. And if you go to our Roku or Amazon Fire, you can always catch other content that we have for your viewing pleasure as well. Rand, without further ado, man, we had a really, really crazy, I mean crazy week. I told my wife, I said, I had uh, meant yesterday to go buy me a can of Arizona tea and drink it live on the show in honor of the Cowboys and their
Ah,
yeah, but
yeah.
I totally forgot. It slipped me by, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot to get the Arizona tea. I was ready to just troll these mother effers all day long. So,
Where they at? I can't find nobody to
and
troll.
I ain't
They
heard
gone.
I ain't heard a word from a Cowboy fan
Man,
tonight, man. It's been bad. It's been real bad.
it's been Facebook silent since 4:30 Sunday.
I
I
mean,
can't find a soul.
they just knew by the time they played the Rams, they both was gonna be 4-0, and it was gonna be the showdown and all of that, the battle of the unbeatens, and I mean not the Rams, I'm sorry, the 49ers. It was gonna be the battle of the unbeatens and all that good stuff. So yeah, it was just hilarious how that all came crashing down. Jermaine Parker, how you doing? Joseph Lowry, how you doing, sir? Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Man.
hold up, Brian. I think the Dolphins scored again.
Probably did. They probably did. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Yeah, you know what? I was gonna go in order, but let me just go ahead and jump to this Miami game because Ram, there. This is the first time. Do you believe that a game has had 5 touchdowns thrown and 5 touchdowns ran in the same damn game?
Man, I've never seen it. Um, Not even in college level. I've never seen it.
Bro, I barely get to do this on Madden. So I went on Madden the other day and I actually scored 84 points against the Rams with 6-minute quarters. And I sent it to a friend of mine that's a Rams fan and said, see, I can do it too. Um, but I really had to try. I mean, I had to try. 726 total yards, 350 yards rushing, 376 yards passing.
What does a defensive coordinator even say? They just got to burn the tape and start again.
They had 30 first downs. They allowed no sacks. I mean, Tua didn't go down one time. It was just crazy. And he didn't throw a pick. I had to see what his QBR was from that game, but it was unfreaking believable. It was like watching a damn video game out there. Tua, 23 of 26, barely. He started out like 15 of 15 or 16 of 16 before he even missed his first pass. He's that
23
accurate
of 26.
for 309 and 4 touchdowns.
Boy, that will definitely help the
Then they
completion.
said, we're gonna call Tua off because Tua's killing them, and we're gonna bring in Mike White, which
Who?
the Jets would love to have some Mike White right now. 2 for 2 for 67 yards and a touchdown. He threw a bomb.
Mike White did it to him?
Mike White did because
Wow.
2 of 4 of them. Mike threw the other one, so that's 5. And then as far as the touchdowns, Mostert went crazy again. 13 carries, 82 yards, 3 touchdowns. And this rookie, Devon Achane, or Achane, I'm probably butchering his name. came in with 18 carries for two. Sorry, I'm gonna get it out. 18, 18 carries for 203 yards. Touchdowns.
Oh, and Miami had to actually let off the gas and not kick a field goal there at the end and start taking knees, or they would have set an all-time NFL record.
Joe said, I saw it before back in the 87 Tecmo Bowl. Oh, God, Denver. It was funny because at the beginning of the season, or right before the regular season started, Sean Payton had to kind of apologize because he was talking some bad shit about bad stuff about Nathaniel Hackett and how that team was coached and everything, and you just got 70 hung on you, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Hackett didn't do that. Hey, Hackett got fired for less. I'm just saying. They said Sean Payton should be checking the wanted ads and stuff, but Hackett did get fired for less. Keep that in mind. Nobody hung 70 on him. My God.
Sean Payton said that was the most terrible coaching job he had ever seen.
Bro. And here's the whole thing. And it's been mentioned on, some of the things, but I noticed it right off. I'm like, wait a minute. As soon as I saw the score, I said, first thing in my mind was this. They put up 70 points and didn't have Jalen Waddle? And y'all knew they were going to throw to
Tyreek? It's like, did Denver play with 9 men on defense? It's like, what happened, man?
Like, wait a minute, wait. You knew they didn't have Jalen on the other side. Tyreek still got 9 for $157?
Yeah. And it just is crazy because Denver prides itself on this historical good defense.
Oh my God. It was crazy. Mostert not only had 82 yards rushing, but then he added another 60 yards in the passing game. So that Akane, too, the other running back that ran for 203 yards, he caught another 4 balls for 30. So even the backs are catching balls and running running up and down the field on you. That is crazy. 10 touchdowns in one game on one side of the ball.
Yeah, man. I saw I'm in another fantasy league through my frat. And as soon as I saw that my opponent had a Miami player, I just went ahead and took the L. I didn't even see who it was. I just went ahead and took the L.
Same. I'm in one with my job, and my old boss, the old president of Red Roof, is in our league. And I was going up against him this week, and he had Tyreek Hill. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Now,
no need to even check the box.
In our Facebook Kings League, I have Tua and Tyreek. So every time Tyreek scores, I get double because Tua is the one that passed them the ball. So, hey, Kim Morrow. She says,
I know you won your game.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I'm now 3-0 in the league. But for some reason now I'm number 2 behind somebody else, only because the points for he has less than 1 point more than I do. So technically he's number 1 now and I'm number 2. But hey, I'm still number 1. Anyway. But yeah, that was crazy. That game right there, that was just absolutely terrible. I don't know what the Broncos can do. I mean, my God, the Dolphins put up a blueprint on you, really. I mean, no other team is going to be able to be that explosive when you got that many track stars on the other side of the ball. But they know you can't stop the run. They know your secondary can get exposed to the pass. So if they have any of those things working for them, I mean, my God, what do you think a team like New England's going to do to them? They're just going to keep running on them and see if they can stop them, which they have not proven to do so yet. So that was definitely an interesting game on Sunday. Another interesting game on Sunday. Didn't see this one coming. We talked about the Texans being a competitive team, but a team that would probably fall short with wins. They have a rookie quarterback, and not really a whole lot of names to really come up with on the team that could really, produce wins, but maybe a competitive team playing for a rookie head coach and DeMeco Ryans, all those type of things going on. But Who would have thunk it? The Houston Texans got their first win of the season by beating the Jacksonville Jaguars, the team that we said would win the AFC South.
Yeah. Didn't they shut him out too?
They shut them out. It was 37-17.
Oh, okay. For a while they were pitching the show. Yeah.
For a while at halftime, it was 17-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. They Jacksonville did score 10 in the third and 7 more in the fourth. But you're right, up through the first half, it was 17-0. I think actually at one point it was 24-0. And then they just started playing a bunch of prevent defense and let them back in the game a little bit. But I mean, it was absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. CJ Stroud had another really good game out of all the rookies, 20 of 30, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and most importantly, no picks. No picks at all. And when you look at sacks, they didn't allow any. Well, they did allow 4 sacks. I'm sorry. No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I looked at that wrong. Didn't get sacked at all. At all.
Yeah. He's letting the ball go. He's letting that thing fly. He's finding folks downfield. He's not taking the time to get a sack. You know, I compare this to Bryce Young a lot because, of course, there was such a controversy here in Charlotte about who did the Panthers take. Is it going to be CJ? Is it going to be Bryce? Went back and forth for months about that. So those two will always be linked together.
Yep.
This whole season. Unfortunately for Bryce, CJ is just really playing good ball right now, man. He is, like I said, a lot of the sacks that Bryce is taking is his own fault. Is a lot of the ball holding and being indecisive. And you can't do that when you are in the NFL. You got to choose a receiver. The window's going to be small, so he may not be wide open, but the guy's still open. You got to give him a shot. And Stroud is doing that. He looks really, really good right now. Just set the NFL record for number of completions for a rookie without throwing an interception. So he's in the history books already.
That's amazing. And Anthony Price jumps in. So does CJ Stroud look better than Bryce Young? Hands down.
Absolutely. And for people that want to make the excuses for Bryce, he's got no offensive line. He ain't got no running game. He ain't got no wide receivers. I'm not listening to those excuses anymore because CJ Stroud has absolutely no offensive line.
Right.
The wide receiver weapons that he has is less than what Carolina has. He's working with a wide receiver named Nico Collins. It's his favorite wide out. You ever heard of Nico Collins? I haven't.
Nope.
And as far as Bryce, it just goes back to what I said, man. He's got to learn to let that ball fly and quit holding it.
I mean, his highest receiver named Tank Dell had 5 receptions for 145 yards and a touchdown. I'm sorry, who?
Yeah, who? Never heard of him.
Tank Dell.
I think what's also telling is that everybody was saying the Panthers wide receivers are not getting no separation. They can't get open, blah, 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 blah. Andy Dalton didn't struggle with that.
I was about to roll right into that. I'm glad you brought that up. So Andy Dalton even found Bryce Young's favorite target. Andy Dalton, 34 of 58, got through the ball 58 times, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns in the loss. But Adam Thielen, Bryce Young's favorite receiver, 11 receptions, 145 yards, and a touchdown. So to your point, he still got Thielen the ball. He had no problem throwing over 300 yards in the game. Bryce can't even get over 150 yards in the game most of the time. They did lose that game, and they did have to abandon the run after they were down so much, and he had to start lighting it up. But the issue is he could get the ball down the field.
Absolutely.
The issue with Bryce Young, hasn't completed many passes over 20 yards.
No, that's the other issue.
And a team is not going to fear you if they know you will not be able to push the ball down the field.
Yep, they're gonna stand there and they're gonna pack the box
and dare you to beat them with your arm, because they're gonna say, we're gonna take the run from you, and you're gonna have to show us that you can beat us. Now we think we have an advantage. If we stack the box, well, that does a couple of different things, Rand. It doesn't just stop the run, it clouds the line of scrimmage, which clouds his line of sight because of his height. People can argue with me all day long that short quarterbacks are just as efficient as taller quarterbacks, but there are disadvantages, and those things have to be weighed out in a combine, when you're doing your scouting and everything like that. I know they keep talking about that the kid has a good head on his shoulders and everything like that, and that was the whole thing. And then the whole thing about C.J. Stroud was, he ain't do too good on the test, and that that goes to his acumen and stuff. And I remember this back in the day where they used to try to ruin players' draft stock by bringing up the daggum Wonderlic test and how well they do on the Wonderlic test. Well, I got my own Wonderlic test. I wonder how many licks he gonna keep taking because y'all keep worrying about the head on his shoulders and not the fact that he ain't 6 foot tall. Yeah, them only wonder licks I'm worried about. I wonder how many more licks he gonna take before he don't get back up anymore. That's how many licks I wonder about.
It's crazy, man. It's like CJ was the front runner here for months. It's going to be CJ. The Panthers going to take CJ. And all of a sudden, that test that you're talking about, it wasn't a Wonderlic, but some other, I think it was skills, some
kind
type
of acuity. Yeah, something. Tell me how big your brain is and all of that.
Right. Bryce did so well at that test that all of a sudden became the deciding factor, and it flipped the scales, and all of a sudden we're taking Bryce instead of CJ. I still got a lot of hope for Bryce, but the Panthers now, sad to say for me, man, I kind of put them in the realm that I put my Tar Heels in. Well, I had my Tar Heels in. You know how the national publications for probably about 4 straight years had picked the Carolina Tar Heels to be just this dynamic team in the ACC. They're going to play in the ACC championship, blah, 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 blah. They got all these prospects. They got all of these recruits, all of these number one recruits and stuff like that. How could they fail? But time and time and time again, they would fail and come up short of expectations. I got to kind of do that with my Panthers now, man. For the past couple of years, I myself, I think you as well, kind of overestimated what they truly are. So from here on out, man, Carolina, y'all got to show me. I can't. I don't care who you sign. You could sign Pat Mahomes and the Cheetah tomorrow.
I think they
still be in the frame of you got to show me. You got to show me.
Well, because now at this point, Rand, it's not so much about who's on the roster. It's how do you utilize them? How are they being coached? How are they playing? Because, I hate to say it, but it seemed like Steve Wilks got more out of a lot of these players than what Frank Reich is getting out of them. And I don't understand that. You got Deuce Staley as a running backs coach. You got not Andy Dalton. You got what's the dude's name?
Cade McCown's.
Yeah, Josh McCown.
Quarterback coach. Josh.
And the quarterback coach. You got Evero doing a good job with the defense, but they're getting worn out because they can't sustain drives. So you got all of this going on, and Frank Reich's whole claim to fame is supposed to be he's a quarterback's coach. He's that guy that because he played the position, he knows how to look through the eyes as a quarterback and get the most out of his quarterbacks and stuff. Whether it's Carson Wentz or other quarterbacks that he's been able to coach under him and everything, and they've had productive seasons. The difference though is that they've been taller than 6'2". When you look at all the ones he's had success, they've all been over 6'2". I know people are gonna say, Brian, you keep bringing up the fact that he's a short quarterback. Yeah, because have you ever seen a defensive lineman that was 5'10"? There's certain positions that when they look at you, they go, okay, this is what you're gonna be. Okay, you 5'10" and you 220, you're gonna be a running back or fullback. You 6'6", you got pretty good hands and you can block a little bit. Okay, you're gonna be a tight end. we slot you in by your size and your skill level, not just your skill level, but then your size. That's why there's a lot of a lot of cornerbacks that are cornerbacks because they got bad hands. Otherwise, they would have been receivers. So it's not just one thing; it's a combination of things that a lot of time determine where you're going to be best in a position. I've seen quarterbacks get changed, get their positions changed to receivers because at the NFL level, people don't see them being a quarterback, or they're saying, "Look, you can try to be a quarterback, Tim Tebow, but you know you ain't nothing but a fullback. You know that's what you really are. You're a gadget guy. You're a Taysom Hill 2.0. You're a poor man's Taysom Hill. We can put you in. Yeah, you can throw a pass here or there if needed, but we know 9 times out of 10 when you're in the huddle, it's more of a wildcat situation going on. We already know that. We're just gonna see if your running ability and the your offensive line can get you those 6, 7, 8, 9 tough yards, or if it's 4th and 1 and we don't want to wear the starting quarterback out, we'll put you in there because we know that you can get that 1 yard or those inches, that type of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna still hold out hope that we got ourselves a Russell Wilson in the prime. I
I
mean,
hope
Russell's only 5'11" too.
right.
But
But
you know, CJ.
What made Russ, what bought Russ time as a quarterback was in the beginning of his career was his elusibility. So you thinking that you're gonna come around that edge and Russ gonna still be there, he may or may not.
Yeah,
And the idea that you're gonna be able to bring him down was not a foregone conclusion because Russ had elusivity with him.
yeah,
That
Young has a lot of that too. He's displayed some of that, you know, even though he fumbled the ball when he displayed it. But
yeah,
he has a lot of that escapability from the pocket,
that's true.
maybe a little too much because I think he needs to be more patient in the pocket, and then he finds some receivers.
He needs to
Um,
trust his eyes
so
without letting his eyes show everybody else what he's looking at. He needs to learn how to throw his receivers open, not waiting for them to sit wide open. There is no
not
wide.
waiting for them to get open. Absolutely right.
There ain't no wide open in the middle. If you
Nah,
see somebody and they wide open in the middle, look again because there's probably a safety just sitting there licking his chops, waiting for you to do it so he can jump on that throw.
like the first game that he played.
Yeah, yeah. Your dude did it to him twice. He
Yep.
made it twice. He said, I'm a back up just enough, but I know how many steps I can get between that dude and the ball to get in front of it and get that interception, or the worst, bat the ball down. Anthony says, was Russell Wilson good because he had a great running back and a great defense? Um, a little bit, but the defense didn't protect him.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, and yes, he did have Lynch for forever to run the ball and stuff like that. But it was both because I mean, when you got a quarterback that can do the RPO, where hey, did I hand it off to the running back or do I still have the ball? And it makes a defense freeze because if you go into aggressive, thinking that he has the ball and he handed it off, or thinking that he has the ball and he already took off, he is a dual threat to you. So having a dual threat back there, what it does is it makes the defense freeze. It makes that Mike linebacker have to really make sure that my eyes are really seeing what I'm seeing. You have to be very disciplined with rush defense when you have a quarterback like that because you have to make sure that he still doesn't have the ball. And now you're looking at gap control, edge control, and everything else to make sure that he don't squirt around that side on you. And now you have no containment, and they can break free for those sideline touchdowns that they do a lot of times, Rand.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Russ is great. Just call it that. I mean, you got to look at his stops. Even in college, he came to North Carolina State and
Yep.
got probably the best ball that they've seen in probably a decade there. Left
Yep.
NC State because they wouldn't allow him to play baseball. Went
Mhm.
to Wisconsin. Nobody had ever heard of Wisconsin before Russ got there, and all of a sudden he's got them ranked. So yeah, I'm gonna call that guy great, man.
Yeah.
Beat the odds as a quarterback in the NFL. Went through a lot of what you were talking about earlier, Brian, and that, you know, came to the NFL and they were trying to reposition him and all that.
Mhm.
Stuck to being a quarterback, and he has a Super Bowl ring. So, Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna call him great.
could have had another one, but that's a whole nother story.
I'm telling you.
Hey, all right, so let's back up and recap some of the games that did other games that happened. Thursday, we started out with the Giants and the 49ers. Snooze. Um, 49ers do what 49ers do. They just still look really, really good. They look like a well-oiled machine. Not much to say there. Brock Purdy, 25 of 37, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, not stats that you would get from a quote-unquote game manager. So Purdy definitely did his thing. You don't really let your game managers throw 37 times. So definitely wasn't a game manager. Daniel Jones continues to struggle with no Saquon there. 22 of 32, 137 yards and a pick. Just not going to get it done that way. Whatever lightning they had in the bottle last year, that bottle obviously hit the ground and shattered.
What are they going to do with Daniel Jones? Because I mean, to me, this experiment's over, man.
And well, see, now the question is going to be, what do they do and what should they do? Because are they going to do what they should, or are they going to sit there and go, well, we really can't because we just paid him. And if we sit there and give up on him now we're gonna look like the 49ers when they went after Trey Lance, overpaying for something and now not wanting to admit I made a mistake.
Yeah, I made a mistake. I think we both called it as being a mistake when they first paid him. It's like, why? Yeah, just like, why y'all paying Daniel Jones for?
You gonna pay Daniel Jones, but you ain't gonna pay Saquon?
Yeah, it's crazy. So now they got a problem. They got a problem
of their own creation.
I'm glad
When
I'm not a Giant
when they let Dave Gettleman draft him as high as he did in the top 6, so that was just the dumbest thing in the world. Like I said, that's almost as crazy as somebody in fantasy, picking Sam Howell with the 4th pick in the draft.
Leave my brother alone.
I just can't. Anthony says nobody taking Daniel Jones' contract. He's stuck in New York. Absolutely,
you're right. Who's going to trade for him? Nobody.
Yeah, you got bad tape. Nobody's going to sit there and look at that tape and go, "Oh yeah, I want that. I gotta have that in my organization."
Yeah.
You don't even want that on your practice squad.
Yeah.
Who want that? That's a bad.
They have a critical problem, an issue. It's like, how and what are they going to do? It's like they're kind of just stuck, man.
The issue is called dead cap money. That's what it is. When you cut him, there's going to be something called dead cap money. Just go ahead and deal with it. Figure it out. But sometimes it's better to just peel the scar than to just sit there and keep picking at it. So they're gonna learn. We also had the Falcons ran and the Lions. Lions did a favor for the Panthers by taking care of the NFC South leader, or one of them. Desmond Ridder got sacked. God, Jesus, they sacked him 7 times.
I know Hutchinson had him, some of them.
Every time I kept seeing Ridder, he was on his back. It was just absolutely crazy. As for Hutchinson, he had 2 of those sacks. Yep. Aiden had 2 of them.
Yep.
Yeah. But then Brian Branch was killing it out there with 11 tackles. I thought they had another guy that had 15, but I don't see it. It might have been another game I was watching. One guy was just going like buck wild. Jared Goff, 22 of 33, 243, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Not a bad day at the office, but he really leaned on his running game. Jamar Gibbs, 17 carries for 80 yards. And then some other guys also contributed where they got over 100 yards rushing for the game. Of course, Monron St. Brown did his usual thing, 9 receptions for 102. So very, very good in the passing game, good on the ground as well, and just would not let the Falcons breathe. They just kept stymieing them. Bijan Robinson, who's been tearing it up as a rookie, 10 carries, held to 33 yards rushing. Algier, his backup, 7 carries for 12 yards. So not a whole lot between those two, 45 yards to be exact. And again, Kyle Pitts, even though he had his most productive offensive game, still is only gave him 41 yards off 5 carries.
Yeah, we keep on coming back to it. We'll come back to it again, man. I like Detroit. I really, really like Detroit. What they've
Mhm.
done. We saw them coming on at the end of last year, and we was wondering, is it going to spill over into this year? It looks like it's the case, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And they says Lions not using Gibbs like they should. Yeah, I think they're going to figure out how many more ways that they can use him. I think he's one of those guys that figuring out different ways to get the ball in his hands. He's just one of those kind of players. He's a football player. He has a position, but he's a football player. Figure out different ways of getting the ball in his hands without just turning around and handing it to him or looking to the side and handing it to him. Any of those kind of things. Come up with different kind of schemes, get the ball in his hands in open space, and then just let him do what he does best with the ball.
Yeah, they made a free agent investment in Montgomery from the Chicago Bears, so he's taken a large chunk of those carries that would ordinarily go to Gibbs. But I mean, Montgomery's doing well too, so they kind of got that two back attack going on. And
Yeah.
shoot, if you got two backs that are doing well, ain't nothing wrong with that.
And to be honest, the way that running backs are being devalued because of the tread that they get, that's really where a lot of teams are and should be going, is finding two capable backs that are interchangeable, not so much because one is taking in so many hits, but you're just trying to even out the workload so that you're not overworking one running back and then you use him up. He gives you 1,800 yards for the season, and then the next season, production just starts going down and down and down because he's taking so many hits. So that may be more of a plan. But like I say, if you can sit there and do two back sets, put one in motion where maybe he's running like smoke routes or running screens and things like that, where he's not just taking the ball from the backfield and having to go north south through a defensive line, that can help as well. One of the things that I always kept saying about Christian McCaffrey, he's such an explosive player, but if all you're going to do is line him up in the backfield, I mean, you're not utilizing him to his full abilities. Put him in the slot, put him in motion. Uh, there's a lot of different things that you can do with McCaffrey that you can exploit him against another team. So hopefully that's what they're going to do with Gibbs.
Got my man Robbie Jenkins chiming in on Facebook Messenger. He's watching the show. He
What's
says,
up, Robbie?
"What's up, brother?" He says, "I see you guys and I'm listening, and I say stick with Andy Dalton as Bryce Young can develop, learn, and heal." I'm kind of with that. I'm kind of with that, man.
Amen.
Yep.
I detect no lies, Robbie.
Yeah,
Preach. Now I'm a little skeptical that's what they're going to do because I saw a report today that Young was a full participant in practice today.
I saw that. Yeah.
So
Yep. And
I'm reading
I
tea
think they're going
leaves.
to throw him right back out there against Minnesota, and we're going to see a lot of the same deficiencies. I'm not just disappointed with Bryce, though. There's a lot of Panthers that we could pick and choose from that are disappointing.
Mhm.
What in the hell was that from Ike Ekwonu? 4 false starts
Oh,
is
oh,
ridiculous.
I forgot to get into how many penalties this team accepted. That
Yeah,
was absolutely ridiculous. Jermaine says Young ain't hurt. We talked about that last week. The Young ain't hurt, and they
yeah.
were trying to come up with some bull jive about him being hurt. 13 accepted penalties for 82 yards. 13 penalties.
9 of them pre-snap penalties. Now I know Seattle is loud, but there comes a time and place, and this kind of falls back to coaching. So I'm kind of
Yeah,
disappointed with coaching too. You teach the guys to look down the line at the snap of the ball and don't freaking move until you see the ball snap.
bro.
Don't be going off of what
All
you
of them,
think the snap penalty is.
all them coaches been to that stadium.
Yeah,
Every last one of them.
all of them.
All of them. They
Yeah.
already know. They already know. If you ain't sitting there, they used to farm in noise during practice and stuff like that so that you can work on silent counts and things like that. You already knew for the whole week that Andy Dalton was going to be your quarterback. You had plenty of days to get in that silent count. There is no excuse for that offensive line doing that. Anthony says that's why Seattle has the 12th man. It is. And people started practicing against that in their own stadiums. They would filter in the noise so that they could work on okay, we're going to do a silent count.
Yeah.
Watch cadence. But Icky has been doing this, whether it was Seattle, whether it was in the Atlanta game. He's been jumping. He's been jumpy. It's
He
like he
has
tried to take that
regressed.
extra step.
He has definitely regressed since last year. He's even like giving up sacks and pressures too.
Yep.
So his play has not been well at all, and
No,
I mean
no.
that's very
I thought the
disappointing.
strong rookie season. This season, he was going to be like hell on wheels because he got that. But
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought the
no,
same.
God, no. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was the one thing that I wanted to bring up so bad about that game and totally slipped my mind. Was I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, 13 penalties and all those pre snaps. Come on, we got to do better than that. So they made Seattle look good. Another game that kept going back and forth, and this is why I think it would be a better fit to have Andy Dalton in this game. Chargers and the Vikings went back and forth, damn near to the end, and it took Kirk Cousins throwing an interception in the end zone to basically seal it for the Bolts. But Justin Herbert, I mean, this is almost Tua-esque, 40 of 47. 405 yards per touchdowns.
That's so frustrating as a defense when a quarterback does that to you.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And Keenan Allen said he wasn't gonna be outdone either. He threw a touchdown too.
Yeah. To Mike Williams, heal up Mike tore his ACL, so he's
Or
done for
ACL
1 year.
again, man. He's out. And he was having the best game of the season, 7 catches for 121 and a touchdown, 17 yards a catch. Absolutely. Christy Faulkner, how you doing, love? How you doing? But yeah, so Mike Williams is out for the season. Keenan Allen is still doing those crazy things. 18 receptions for 215.
Whew.
That's crazy, man. That's stuff I be doing on my Madden, man. I be doing those numbers on Madden, and it's crazy to sit there and see a guy like do it for real, for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game went back and forth. So the Vikings are 0-3 in that NFC North. That is not going to do it. That's not going to keep them pace with the Detroit Lions. Because they have the Packers and the Bears, and I can't sleep on the Packers right now after what they did, but they have the Packers and the Bears in that conference, so they may be fighting for second or third in that division if the Packers can actually maintain some momentum and really rally behind Jordan Love. And if nobody saw that game, the Packers were playing the Saints and basically slept through the first 3 quarters of that game. And through the first 3 quarters, it was 17-0.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, the Green Bay Packers scored 18 points and beat the New Orleans Saints 18-17. Now, one caveat: Derek Carr went down with a bum shoulder. They brought in famous Jameis. He was sitting there ready to eat some W's. Didn't happen that way. But Jordan Love ended up 22 of 44, so they were letting him air it out. He also carried 9 times for 39 yards as well. So he kind of mixed it up, did a few things, opportunistic scoring and things like that. The Saints started shooting themselves in the foot and let them back in that game when it looked like they had the game in hand. That's why you don't stop putting points on the board. You keep scoring, you keep scoring. Anthony says that's why you don't pay a injured prone player. Yeah, that's true. And he said if Carr wasn't injured, Saints would have won. Well, if and what's was a bag of nuts, you know what they say.
The Panthers 0-3 play Minnesota 0-3 this coming week, right?
Somebody's gonna get a win.
Somebody's getting a win. But I was sitting here thinking as I was driving this morning, I was like, if the Panthers lose this game, they're going to be 0-4. They're going to be behind in the NFC South.
Yes.
They're probably not going to catch anybody. Already, I think we should start thinking about tanking for one of these quarterbacks that's going to be in the next draft. But then I remembered, we don't have a number 1 draft pick.
Hey, you might have to make a trade. Brian Burns starting to look good.
Brian Burns is starting to look good. And now 2 weeks ago, I would have said, no, you're crazy. That's hands off. But
You
now
you
it's looking
might
like the only option, man.
you might have to trade Brian Burns and get a first and a third and hope that you can hit on the third and replace him.
I'm serious.
I know that sounds crazy, but you
It
tell
doesn't
me
sound
right
crazy
now,
to me, brother.
you can't get a mid first round pick and a third round pick for Brian Burns and then take that first round and might be able to bunch it up with another one and if you need to move up and then move up again. It's possible, but you got to get that. You got to get the first one first before you can then try to package it with something else. Because nobody's going to give you something for just a future first round pick or a future second round pick. You got to give them a this year's first plus something else if you want to move up a lot of times. So that's how that's
Yeah.
going to go. But you're right; they got to get the first one, and sometimes you gotta subtract the add. Unfortunately, because you put yourself in a position where you have to do that. I don't want to see him go, but who's your most valuable player on the team right now?
Yeah. Anthony says, how you going to draft the number one pick, then tank, then draft another number one pick quarterback? So I was thinking about this as well, Anthony, and you're absolutely right. I think I started thinking, even if the Panthers did tank, and even if they had a number one pick in the draft, they would still probably be too proud to admit their
They
mistake
would.
with Bryce Young
They
and
would.
wouldn't take a quarterback anyway.
Right. They wouldn't.
They'd be too proud. There's so many teams like that that they don't want to admit their mistake, so they
Mhm.
just keep on making mistakes. And to me,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
They stay in a they know they're in a bad relationship
Yeah,
and they know that it's not gonna get any better. But if they get out of it too soon, then all their friends gonna be able to say, "See, I told you he wasn't no good. If you
yeah.
had only listened to me, you wouldn't be in this situation." So because they don't want to hear other people's mouths,
Hmm.
they end up staying in something that now I know I done probably stepped on some toes out there because a whole bunch of y'all probably done been in them same relationships where you like, yeah, I knew I shouldn't have hung around that relationship, but I didn't want to hear nobody's mouth talking about I knew it. See what I tell you. So they go
Hmm.
ahead and hang with it, and then they almost surrender by the time they go ahead and make that move. It's a surrender. It's okay. I just can't do this anymore. I
Yeah,
just and how many times you been in a relationship where you just said, you know what? I just can't. Because
yeah,
if I do, one of us ain't gonna live no more.
yeah.
Somebody ain't gonna be
Now,
breathing.
now, if I was GM, yeah, I'd make that move. I
Oh yeah.
don't care. I'm trying to get better with these quarterbacks that are in the draft for this coming draft season. If we was in position to get one of them, especially a homegrown talent, the UNC kid,
Yeah.
um,
Oh,
I'm
Drake,
taking them.
talking about
I
Drake
don't
May?
care if it, yeah,
Yeah.
Drake May. I don't care if it pisses Bryce Young off. I don't care if it makes Young feel insecure. Damn it, go out there and y'all have a quarterback battle in camp and let me know who's the best quarterback.
Sometimes you
But
gotta do that because if
sometimes you got to do that. But
there's no competition,
these organizations, they don't like to do that. They're scared. They don't want to make a quarterback feel insecure. And like you were saying, they don't want to admit a mistake, man.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I know that's what it is. They just don't want to be. And here's the thing: I get that, but what I also understand in this league, this is a "what have you done for me lately" league. If you sit there and you hang your hat on a guy, and I'm gonna talk about a certain guy that the New York Jets need to make sure that they're not hanging their hat on, because I just watched Robert Saleh give a crazy press conference where he sounded like he had all the faith in the world in Zach Jones,
And to be
bro.
sounding stupid when they say stuff like that.
But see, what's gonna happen is they're gonna get rid of him, and then they're gonna come for you. Now,
Yeah.
what I and you know, you can only do what Matt Rule did one time. I'm gonna fire my offensive coordinator. I'm gonna get rid of this person and make it seem like okay, now I fixed the problem. I'm gonna take over the play calling and all that kind of stuff and try to make it seem like okay, now that I got more control over it. Yeah, but now if you do that, you out of excuses.
Yeah. You out of excuses, man.
So, you know, I told my wife, I said I was kind of expecting, oh, after the Panthers lost a game or two, that we were going to hear that the offensive coordinator has been let go or something like that, so that they can make it seem like, well, we just had the wrong guy in there. And but the head coach, no, I'm good, I'm good. You know, I see the
Mhm.
problem, so I'm taking care of it. Don't fire me, Tupper. Don't fire me.
Yeah.
getting well, Tepper ain't gonna fire you. I mean, you got to do some crazy stuff before he fire you, apparently. But yeah, so we had that game. Let's see. We also had um, the Doo-Doos actually beating up on the Titans 27-3.
Yeah.
What world? This was a crazy week. Games that I wouldn't have really seen play out the way that they played out were just interesting. And this was definitely one of them where, people have been talking about, hey, have we seen the best of Deshaun Watson? Did we get fool's gold in Houston? Hadn't seen him play like that since he was in Houston. And this particular game, give him credit. 27 of 33, 289, 2 touchdowns.
That's probably the best game he's played since he's been back, period.
It is.
Yeah, it really is. So kudos to him, Mr. Masagi, for that. Great game. Yeah, I had to still throw that in there at you, but great game. But to me, also, it kind of shows the demise of Tennessee. Tennessee ain't what they used to be, man. Nope. And I'm kind of worried, even concerned about Derrick Henry because he was shut down that game.
Sure was.
Yep.
Well, he was shut down. They only had between him and Tajay Spears 26 yards rushing. Derrick had 20. Tajay had 6. And then Tannehill gives you nothing, 13 of 25, 104 yards, no touchdowns, no picks.
Wow. They're going to be screaming Will Levis after a while if they keep that up.
That's 25 yards a quarter from your quarterback.
High school.
I mean. So, yeah, and here's the thing. Same thing like I just said for Carolina. Trade deadline is coming up. Please send Derrick Henry to Carolina.
Yeah, get him on out of there, man.
Because the only trade value you're going to have is before this season is over. And it's over. It's over. They're 1-2, so mathematically, with Jacksonville falling to Houston and Indy kind of up and down, even though Indy just had a win, they're still kind of in it. But do you want to limp into the playoffs, or do you want to be strong into the playoffs? You don't want to back into the playoffs. Why not draft Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Yeah, I saw that comment, Anthony. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. But here's the issue. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going first round, probably top 10. Yeah. So if the Carolina Panthers, I'm assuming you're talking about the Panthers because we were talking about the Panthers at that time. If they want to be in position to draft him, they're going to have to let Brian Burns go so they could get back into the draft of next year. Because as we sit here right now, Panthers do not have a first-round draft choice. They start in the second round.
Right. And you're going to have to basically decide, do you want to have an explosive offense and a decent defense? Because you're going to end up having to plug in somebody else that may not be as strong as Brian Burns, but may still do a decent job on the edge, but just may not be Brian Burns. Where your offense is putting up so many points that it takes some of the pressure off your defense. That's what you're basically saying. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't trust the Panthers with any receivers right now because I have not seen Mingo do anything much. I haven't seen the kid that they got, 2 years ago really do anything.
Number 88. I'm forgetting his name. Terrence Marshall.
Yeah.
And they put such great stock in him, and he's not done a damn thing this year.
Nope.
Yeah.
Tommy Tremble, Ian Thomas supposed to be good pass catching receivers.
Haven't seen it. And this kind of falls on
Cleveland to be another pass catching receiver.
Yep. All of this is starting to fall on Scott Fitterer, man. It really is. Anytime you trade up to go get a Matt Corral and then find out that Matt Corral is no longer even in the league, that is a terrible, terrible draft move. It's wasted draft collateral.
It's crazy. Anthony says we knew Hopkins went to the Titans for the money and not the wins. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, he knew. He
We
knew.
got Robbie chiming in again on Facebook Messenger.
Robbie.
Just simply says Zach Wilson is trash. That's the first message. I agree with you there, Robbie. I think Brian agrees with you too.
He's 2 for 2.
Then his second message says, don't forget the money spent on injury-prone J.C. Horn. Another good point, man.
Bruh.
As well as wasted money I've ever seen. That is beginning to look like a bad
Robbie. Robbie's all Robbie. Do you want to come on the show?
Come on the show, bro. You making some strong points.
Oh my gosh, you ain't never lied. Listen, they definitely have been missing a lot, and that's the thing is that that conference, I mean that division, was ripe for them to take away by not even having to be really good. Just okay is enough to win that division. You don't have to be spectacular. You don't have to win Miami versus Denver game 70-20. You can thug a lot of them out 13-10, 16-11. You can win games like that, real nice and ugly, and win that division. But you got to be able to stop people. They ain't been able to stop the run. Teams are just running all over them right now. And then anytime they see old Henderson guarding one of their receivers, they just air it out because they know it's going to be a PI. They already know. You want the easiest way to get down the field without a completion? Throw it wherever CJ Henderson is.
Yep.
Because it's going to be a spot foul every single time.
Magnum PI. That's his name.
Verlene Glover, how you doing, Miss Verlene? Yeah, so that's exactly what you're going to get. If you want to move up and down the field on the Panthers without ever getting a run or completion, just look and see if CJ Henderson is on the field and just throw in his direction, and he's going to grab the receiver, and you're going to get the ball down the field, and you'll get
every time.
First and 10.
I just kind of just have to cuss up underneath my breath every single time I think that we could have Patrick Surtain on this defense instead of J.C. Horn. Just shake your head, man. That's really all you could do. JC cannot stay healthy for jack crap. And when I saw him pulling at his hamstring in the first game of the season, I'm just like, here we go again.
Absolutely. So what do we think is going on in Chicago right now? Justin Fields, 11 of 22. Now, Justin was also a lead runner, 11 carries, 47 yards. But he threw the ball 11 times. He threw the ball 22 times, made 11 of them for 99 yards, a touchdown, and a pick.
Yeah, man. We talked about this a little bit last week too, and I think when we was breaking down the NFC North, I kind of mentioned something about it as well. The Bears were all gung-ho because they thought they got themselves a wide receiver, a number one wide receiver in DJ Moore. And they thought they got the guy from Pittsburgh, forgetting his name, the wide receiver from the Steelers.
Claypool.
Yeah, Claypool. Oh, they got these two dynamic wide receivers, and they're just going to be able to light it up this year. I knew better. I knew they bought fool's gold. I knew
DJ Moore, 3 receptions, 41 yards. Chase Claypool, 1 reception for 15.
Fool's gold, man.
Yeah. I know Mike Thomas like, yep.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to compare DJ Moore to Claypool because I know DJ Moore is better than Claypool. But just the expectation level of what the Bears thought they were getting, them fools thought they got them a number one and a number two wide receiver.
But you know what? It wasn't just them. I heard it all through the pundits. ESPN. Oh yeah. Chicago got a solid number one receiver, and I'm going. Y'all talking about DJ Moore?
Yeah, right.
I said, this time when I put
in Carolina.
I mean, how many times did we come on the show going, I need to put DJ Moore on a milk carton because we couldn't find him on Sunday?
Yep.
Like he will disappear on you. He'll be out there, and you'll never know he was out there.
Yep, he gives you some great yardage between the 20s, but when you get into the red zone,
He's a
can't find him.
flash guy. He'll give you flash plays, but just making I will take the Chris Godwin plays, the 5-6 yard plays, cross the middle, stuff like that. I don't want the Mike Evans plays where it's just every now and then you get stretch plays and stuff like that. I don't want the Brandon Cooks plays for my number one receiver. My number one receiver needs to be the guy that's being targeted the most because he has the most opportunities. He creates opportunities. He creates mismatches, or everybody else is eating because they're focusing on him so much that it gives everybody else a chance. Well, DJ Moore had 3 receptions. No other receiver had more than 2. So he didn't create opportunities for nobody else. He didn't create any for himself. He had 3 catches. That's the most catches. He had 41 yards. That is twice as many yards as Cole Kmet. Well, Cole Kmet had 22, so technically that'd be 44, but he dang near had double as the tight end did.
Yeah.
I mean, there are no threats on the offense, so defenses know we're going to stack that box and we're going to force you to run, even though their running game was better. But that's just because their running quarterback had 47 of their total rushing yards, which was 116. So your quarterback has 47 of your buck 16.
That's just dysfunction on the offensive level, man. It really is.
That's an injury waiting to happen.
Yep.
That's
And that was another one of those games I was keeping an eye on. It was 34-0 at halftime. I thought KC was going to try to boat race themselves up to 70, 80 points as well. But they did take their foot off the gas in the second half.
Mahomes started limping around, even though he came out after halftime and played. He did not play in the fourth quarter at all. They brought in Blaine Gabbert in the fourth quarter, and he did calm down. He was only 3 or 5, 31 yards, and he threw 2 picks that got Chicago back in the game. Well, not back in the game, but helped them start to score a little bit because they did all of their scoring, those 10 points in the fourth quarter when Gabbert came in. If you notice, while Mahomes was in, it was like you said, it was 41-0 through 3 quarters. 41-0. They scored all 10 points in the fourth. So 41-0 through 3 quarters while Mahomes was in. And then when Gabbert came in, that's when they got the 10 points off the 2 turnovers from him. So that's how that happened. But yeah, so Kansas City, the one thing I'll give Kansas City credit for in this game, and I know why they did this, is they normally do 2 things. They play down to their competition a lot, but a lot of times they take their foot off the gas. And if you're up 41-0 through 3 quarters, you didn't take your foot off the gas, which is something they don't normally do. So this is what I'm going to say, and I'm talking to my number 1 fan because I know that she watches the show. Even sometimes she will pause her show to watch this one, and that is one Taylor Swift. I need you to show up to every game, Taylor, to cheer on Travis Kelce, because that will definitely keep Mahomes thinking, I got to get Trav the ball. Because Taylor up in the box over there watching him and cheering and stuff. So because they knew they had Taylor Swift. It was 41-0 in the third quarter. Tell me any other time when Kansas City was up 41-0 on somebody in the third quarter. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think Taylor Swift got something going on with Travis Kelce there to keep them inspired throughout the entire game. So, Andy, make it happen. Make it happen. Keep bringing Taylor back.
Must be exhausting rooting for the anti-hero.
Oh, that was perfect. That was a great layup. Oh, boy, that was a good one. All right, so let's talk about a game that happened on Sunday Night Football between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Las Vegas Raiders. That was crazy. Last week, I picked the Steelers to win the game, but then for some reason on my Mount Prime Time, I picked the Raiders for some reason. I don't know what I'm thinking. Because I had said if they keep Jimmy Garoppolo under duress, they had a chance to win. Now, the crazy thing is Jimmy G went 28 of 44, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. If I stop right there, wow, it's a pretty good game, Jimmy.
Yeah. But
he also had 3 passes to the other team.
Yeah. and made the difference in the game.
That was the only problem.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett, 28, 235, 2 touchdowns, a lot better than the game he had before. Najee Harris woke up a little bit, 19 carries, 65 yards. And definitely one of Kenny Pickett's favorite receivers is none other than that dynamic George Pickens, 4 receptions for 75 yards. But Devontae Adams is going to be Devontae Adams. 13 receptions for $172 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting there watching the game and I was thinking, can somebody please, I mean, just pretty please, grab hold of this guy, quit letting him run free, because every time that Garoppolo dropped back, you knew where he was throwing the ball every single time.
Don't throw him the 50-50 ball because he trusts him to come down with it.
Yeah.
He does.
I mean, and it's just nothing you can really do when a wide receiver is so good that he's open off the first 2 seconds of the play. He's wide open.
Right, and you just letting him go tick, 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 tick. Okay, air it out, because by the time he catches it, he's catching it in stride because I'm throwing him open. Yeah, I mean, he's going to kill you that way. You did get a comment. Randall Harris got one more week to show me something. I swear he's going to be cut or traded.
I'm telling you, man, I completely agree with you. I'm just as frustrated as you with that. We were talking about this a little bit last week.
Sure.
Harris is the number 1 draft choice. He's the one that we spent the money on. Well, not spent the money, but made the investment in. And now we have a undrafted free agent that's pressing him for the starting job, and that's doing a better job running it than Harris is. So it's just really frustrating watching Najee get the ball and kind of tiptoe behind the line and show no explosiveness. That's going to have to change. It's really going to have to change. And he's going to have to get himself involved in the passing game more too.
Absolutely. Well, that defense is still doing spectacular. Mr. TJ Watt added another 2 sacks onto his resume on that game too. So
yeah. And Charlotte's own Highsmith, UNCC product, went all the way to the big leagues. Yes, got his name in there.
He sure did. So, it's one of those Steeler games, though, and this is what I mean for the Panthers. They ain't got to be pretty. 23-18 ain't pretty, but it's a slugfest. You get a shot, they get a shot. You throw another, they throw another, and you just punch it out. And that's what you have to do a lot of times. So, I mean, the Steelers won that game and didn't even score in the 4th quarter.
I know. It's like since you made the comparison to the Panthers, I'll do the same thing. Kenny Pickett's just going to let the ball go. He's going to have himself an interception here, maybe 2 for a game. But in the process, he's not going to be just holding the ball and collecting sacks just so he's not can remain turnover free. You can't win that way. You can only win in this league by taking choices. And Bryce got to learn to take some choices. Absolutely. Some chances, I'm sorry.
Chances, yeah. Anthony says, watching that Raiders game, I was so Jimmy G only got 2 wide receivers. He kept on throwing to them only. Well, yeah. I mean, you got Devontae Adams. So, he's, again, this is my point about having the number 1. He should have the most receptions. And he did. He had twice as many as the second guy, who was Jacoby Myers. But when you think about it, between Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams, they had 257 of the 324 yards that Jimmy G threw.
Yeah. So I would throw it to them too if they can't stop it.
Why do you need to go to your third receiver if your first and second one are always open?
Exactly. If they can't stop it, keep on doing it.
It's all about reads. If my first read is there, I'm not going to go, but the other guy ain't been getting no balls. You throw it to your first read.
Throw it to the open man.
To the open man, yeah. If your open man is there, throw it to him. So, I mean, he did what he should have done. He made sure. Because behind Jacoby Myers with 7 receptions, Josh Jacobs, your running back, had more than the other receivers. And that's probably because of screens and stuff like that. He had 3 for 18 and stuff like that. But good to see Josh doing this thing. 17 carries, 62 yards. His average per, not really that good, only 3.6. But Najee Harris was like a 3.6 as well, I believe, when if I remember correctly. Najee was 3.4. So not a lot of yards out of the running backs. But Josh Jacobs is one. I combined the two. Josh Jacobs is one of those guys, though. He's more of that pound back. He's just going to keep delivering those blows to the defense and loosen them up. So normally by the time the end of the third, beginning of the fourth quarter, he actually just starts pushing it through even more and more and starts breaking off longer runs and stuff like that. So that's kind of more his game.
Yeah, it's a big old boy too.
He is. He is. They need to give him his money too, because he's still going to be the workhorse and everything. How about him? I mean, how about him? I mean, everybody. Now listen, Cowboy fans, for y'all sit there and tell me about Trayvon Diggs blowing out his ACL in practice 3 days before the game. I understand that. But this is what I don't understand. Trayvon Diggs is not a linebacker. He ain't a defensive tackle. And he damn sure ain't a quarterback. But I do know who the Arizona Cardinals quarterback is. His name is Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, he looked good.
Josh Dobbs looked pretty good.
Pretty good.
$189, 1 touchdown. And then let a former Steeler named James Conner pull 14 carries for 98 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the other side, Jur got his $45 million quarterback, 25 of 40, 249, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And that was a bad pick.
I was just about to say, Brian,
sometimes how many you throw is the ones you throw and when you throw them.
Where was the receiver? Where was the receiver? All I saw was red.
This is what he said. We behind. It's all on me to bring them back. So I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm going to throw an interception in the end zone. That's what I normally do. I was just waiting for it. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
That's what he does in that situation. He throws an interception at the most. If you throw an interception with 8 minutes to go in the first quarter, that's totally different than the last minute or 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. It just is. The game's on the line. Early part of the game, you can challenge your defense. Hey, get the ball back. Get the ball back for us. All that kind of stuff. You got 2 minutes left in the game. Your defense looking at you like, what the hell you want us to do? We've been here all game, bro. We've been here all game.
That defensive back for the Cardinals stood there in the end zone, and I'm sure when he saw that ball coming at him, he was like, "What the hell?"
Unbelievable.
This meant for me.
Y'all let the Arizona Cardinals put 222 yards rushing on you. Telling me about your defense. Trayvon Diggs don't stop the run. That ain't his part. That ain't his game. His game is to either take chances on picks or get blown coverage. That's what he does.
That's what he does.
he's an extremist because it's either one or the other.
It's one or the other. It's either a highlight reel for him making the play or a highlight reel for him getting burned.
Exactly. But y'all let James Conner put up 98. You let Josh Dobbs, the quarterback, run for another 55 yards. Rondale Moore 54. So you let them put 222 yards on your stout championship. You know this idea. Defense.
Let them have it, B. Let them have it. Let them have it.
Arizona did what others couldn't do, slow down Micah Parsons. Well, the way you slow down Micah Parsons is you're aggressive with your run. When your run is that aggressive and Micah is coming from the edge and the ball ain't back there, you've just negated him.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. You outrun the coverage.
Yep.
I mean, yes, he is a great pass rusher, but his main goal is to get to the quarterback and bring the quarterback down. Well, you can't bring him down if he don't have the ball in his hand. So, and they made sure that, and Josh Dobbs knew that Micah Parsons. You think the reason Josh Dobbs got 55 yards running wasn't because Micah Parsons was out there? That's why he got 55 yards rushing. He know who out there. Oh, my tight end missed the block. I wouldn't even go through my read. If I see that my tight end just missed that chip, run.
Yeah.
You know who over there. You already know, and you know how fast he can close, run. And that's what they did to keep him off balance a little bit. So perfect plan. And here's the thing, Cowboys. Other teams saw that. They know your weaknesses. Well, they know a lot of your weaknesses. They know your quarterback, but they also know, hey, if we sit there and we commit to our run and we can create some holes like that and get through, which oh Lord, nah, this
To
ain't
Cowboy fans out there, show your frustrations. Show up.
Now, let me put it to you like
Don't
this.
just disappear.
Let me put it to you like this. If James Conner, and I love Conner, been through a lot, great story. If between Conner and Josh Dobbs, if they put 153 yards on you, what is Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel going to do to you?
Well, you're about to find out. I can tell you that. Them two boys gonna be running three like they just broke out of jail.
CMC gonna do to you?
Yep.
I don't know if y'all play Miami, but I hope not, because if Mostert and that Kane come down on you, woo. Evan says I was happy and disappointed with Lamar Jackson playing bad.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that. Robbie Jackson, I'm sorry, not Jackson. Robbie Jenkins just chimed in on Facebook, on a Facebook Messenger. He says the Dallas Cowboys always have a great team on paper, just like you stated. It's about execution and crunch time. And there again, as the great Stephen A. Smith would say, just wait until they implode.
Yep. And you know what? As soon as they lost, I promise you, the first thing I did was I went to YouTube and I pulled up Stephen A. because I already knew I was gonna get.
Yep. That was the funniest thing ever.
Man, I had to pull over because I was like, I already knew. I already knew. Because, and the other thing about the Cowboys, they do the same thing. They play inferior talent, have these massive wins, and the bravado and all of the, oh yeah, this is it. This is it. I know I said it 27 times before, but this is it. We are going back, baby. Get out of the first round of the playoffs first. But no, this is it. Forget NFC Championship game. We're going to the bowl. We're going to the chip.
Yep. Start flying flags, lighting cigars in week 3.
Oh man, I see cars painted with silver and blue. I'm like, oh, so nauseating. This is what I'm talking about.
It's crazy.
And I mean, they just, how about them? How about them? We got this. I love watching Skip Bayless cry. I love watching Playmaker cry. Because before this game, they was already talking about, Skip, you feel it? I feel it. You know how Michael Irvin get into it, and that's how them boys gonna go, because they gonna do what Cowboys do. And I'm just going.
And then comes Stephen A. Smith every single time.
like y'all are really Charlie Brown and Lucy just keep taking the damn football.
I know.
On the kick it.
Yeah, and you're still trying to kick it. You know what's going to happen, but you're still
for 28 years, y'all been trying to kick this football. And I love it. I love it. And I know my Panthers are doo-doo, but do keep in mind, they've been to the Super Bowl twice since you have. Anyway,
that's right.
I keep that in my back pocket.
Yep.
Anthony said Cowboys got New England next week. I know they do. And if you don't think Zeke Elliott didn't know that, watch out.
Ezekiel Elliott is coming. He's coming.
And if they can't stop that running game from Arizona, Zeke might not do nothing else the rest of the year, but he might show up for this game if Belichick give him the ball. Now, Belichick isn't one about like revenge games, so he could just potentially throw the ball 87 times and let Mac Jones just have 500 yards passing. It's very plausible. And Zeke might have like 22 yards rushing. That's how I feel Belichick is. It's very plausible.
Oh, sorry, the noise in the background. I'm trying to read some messages that I got from Facebook here. Guys, I really can't do it without it being a mess right now. So it's going to cause some audio feedback and stuff like that. So I'm going to just have to let these messages sit here. But thank you, Robbie Jenkins, for chiming in. Appreciate it. And looks like maybe Jermaine has also dropped a message or two here on Facebook Live. Kim Morrow as well. Might be some of the same messages that are coming through here on the feed.
Yeah, I see them.
Yep.
I got them. All right. Very cool. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, y'all. Thank y'all for always participating in the feedback and stuff like that. We love doing the show with you. And just getting your reactions to these games as well. It was brought up about I ain't gonna ring on the Cowboys anymore. We'll see what goes on from here. That Ravens Colts game was definitely one where Uncle Rico
Yeah.
he come back. I mean, your franchise quarterback is out with a concussion. Gardner Minshew comes in, does Gardner Minshew. He threw 44 times, hit 27 of them, 227 and a touchdown. Lamar Jackson, 22 of 31 for 202 yards. They basically said, Lamar, we're going to let you get your yards in between the 20s, and that's going to be about it. He did have 14 carries for 101 yards, ran for 2 scores, but Zach Moss, 30 carries for 122 yards. Now, that's a team committed to the run, 30 carries.
Yeah.
He really just sat there and pounded and pounded and pounded. And I thank him for it because I added him to my fantasy last week.
I had him on my fantasy too.
Yes, I was definitely.
Let me ask you, Brian, while you're on the stat page, how many catches did Odell Beckham Jr. have?
Oh my. Oh man, it's so many. Oh, I'm sorry, he ain't have none.
He ain't have none? No. Oh, I don't think he played.
No, he ain't play.
Yeah. A little bit more of that fool's gold. I had all these Ravens fans celebrating in the
we got Odell.
We got Odell. We got him. Look, this ain't 5 years ago.
Yeah, y'all gotta let that go. You can't take some, it's like me trying to say in 2023, I'm gonna draft Michael Jordan because of everything that he did in the 90s.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, if I want to get Michael from the 90s, what I really need to be looking for is a DeLorean.
A DeLorean.
Not Michael Jordan today. I need to go find me a DeLorean so I can bring the 1990s Michael Jordan, which I would love to do, and bring him into 2023 and really see what these fools can do. But that's a whole other story. But yeah, so Lamar was their leading rusher by more than a lot. Gus Edwards was the second leading rusher with 51 yards. So Lamar basically doubled up on them and everything. So no rushing game, no passing game, and you're putting it all on Lamar to do everything. You paid him all that money, and he cannot. I told them not to do that. He's not a force multiplier. He cannot take no names on the back of a jersey and turn them into stat makers. He's not that kind of player. And to pay him like that because of some pressure between him and his mama made no sense to me. You had the leverage. Lamar hadn't shown you enough, and his backup could have put up those same numbers.
No doubt.
Kyle Huntley could have done the same thing.
Yep. And we will see come December if Jackson is still in there. He's got to prove that to me too.
Can he make it through a whole season? And I'm telling you, if he plans on 14 carries and a $101 every game, he won't. He ain't gonna make it in November.
No,
he won't. Somebody gonna catch him.
Yeah.
And they love to catch them little running quarterbacks. Oh, they love when they catch him. Oh, I'm gonna lay a nice lick on him. I'm gonna get him good. Even if he almost about to go out of bounds, I'm gonna help him out. Put that nice lick on him. I'll make it legal, but he gonna remember who hit him. Maybe. Anthony says Colts versus Ravens looks like nobody wanted to win. Yeah, they kept going back and forth because this was an overtime game, and they get a little bit down the field and couldn't complete third down and kept going back and forth and going back and forth. They even put Justin Tucker in a position to try to kick a very, very long field goal, and he just couldn't do it, and that just ended up giving the Colts ultimate field position at the very end to go ahead and pull it out. But again, for my Panthers, these are games that I don't mind us having, where it's 22-19, where it's a slugfest. You're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They're not going to blow nobody out. those are the kind of games you're going to have to win. Those are the kind of games that at the end of the season is really going to test your mettle, whether you can hang into a game. Not a 70-20 game where the outcome of the game was never in question. It's going to be those games going back and forth, basically who got the ball last going to win the game. A lot of those games are going to come down to that. So very interesting there. And then Rand, I think, we had the Bucks and the Eagles, and, I just got a chuckle out of your post because anytime you say Baker Mayfield and the word bad in the same sentence, what is it with y'all and Baker Mayfield? Good. My God, y'all, let it go. He Baker, y'all.
He is who he is.
I mean, when he has a good game, we'll say he had a good game. Then when he plays like we know he normally will play, it is what it is. It's Baker, y'all.
Right. Yep, we got to call that too. We got to call it like it is. But it seems to me that every time that he has a good game and wins, the team won because of Baker Mayfield. Right. But whenever he has a bad game and loses, they really lost because of all these other reasons. It ain't Baker's fault.
You trying to put all this Baker? I'm reading that. I'm like, well, number one, he ain't say that, but he was out there.
Yeah.
And who touches the ball more than Baker?
Yeah.
Only the center.
Right.
The only person touch the ball as much as Baker does is the center. Unless you're running the Wildcat, the Baker and the center touch the ball the same amount of times. So you can't give all the credit and none of the blame.
Exactly.
Well, it ain't his fault. It ain't Baker's fault. He a short quarterback too, y'all. I'm just letting you know. He's short too. But their defense was pretty good. They did get a couple sacks on Jalen Hurts. They got him to throw 2 picks, but DeAndre Swift ran for 130 yards. And for a team that likes to run the ball, and he still got A.J. Brown 9 receptions for $131. So still productive. I still think the Eagles are still working some things out. Haven't quite gotten it all together yet, but still maintaining that 3-0. The Bucks still are at 2-1. So Baker Mayfield fans, don't feel bad yet. Just wait till November when they have an upside down record, and then you can cry. You can put your tears on Facebook, on the water cooler, and cry about Baker. Boy, you're so mean to Baker.
It's not his fault. It's
not his fault. Leave Baker alone. They took his stadium away from him. What's he supposed to do? He took his progressive commercials away.
He's got no running game. God, man.
They won't bring back playoff Lenny. Oh, man, we're almost at the end. And we had the Bengals and the Rams, and I should have known better. Like you said, that the Bengals were not going to let an 0-3 happen. And Matthew Stafford did exactly what I said on the last show, that the Rams would win that game as long as Matthews, and I quote, as long as Matthew Stafford doesn't turn into Josh Allen and start throwing the ball to the other team. And did he ever? I mean, he kept on doing it. 2 interceptions and just gave the game away. Joe Burrow had by far his best game of the season, 26 of 49, 259, 1 touchdown. Jamar Chase broke off 12 receptions for $141. That's a little bit more of the Joe Cool that we've been used to seeing. So good job there. I know we're running out of time. Definitely want to know what 2 or 3 games you're looking for this week, Rand.
Oh, man, it starts tomorrow night, man. Lions at Packers. I think this is the game that's going to show the balance of the North changing power. I got the Lions, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Another divisional game is going to be the Ravens and the Browns. That's going to be a big one coming up. You got the Bucks and the Saints. Only bring that up because they're fighting for first place in the NFC. You've got the Steelers playing the Texans. Let's see what C.J. Stroud can do when the guy named T.J. Watt is on the other side of the field.
Yeah, here comes interception number 1.
And let's see what the 49ers can do against the Cardinals and see if they have better luck than what the Cowboys did. But yeah, that's what we got going on. And lastly, I'm going to say this. I'm going to have a PPP, a point of personal privilege here. It got announced that Usher is going to be the headliner for the Super Bowl. and I did read some crazy comments. First of all, let me say this: as a father of two girls,
take as much time as you need with this one.
as a father of two girls, how are you gonna post some ignorant stuff on a page talking about we should never have any female performers at the Super Bowl? I wanted to respond to that one so bad because I'm like, you know what? This is not NFL, the Neanderthal football league.
I'm telling you.
Fans in the NFL are men and women, young and old. Everybody don't want to hear Nirvana and Metallica
Exactly.
at the Super Bowl. There's nothing wrong with that, but do y'all understand that these performers, when they perform at the Super Bowl, get paid zero to perform? Because the understanding is that after they perform, what normally happens the night of and the day after is all the downloads on Spotify go absolutely crazy because people want to reminisce and download their music.
Yeah.
Usher is a performer. He has a residency in Vegas. He sells out residencies.
And people don't realize how huge that is.
He is a performer. He will put on a show. That's what people tune into the Super Bowl. Some people watch the Super Bowl for the commercials. Some people watch it for the halftime show. And yes, there are some people that actually watch it for the game. But if it was all it was just a game, the hype wouldn't be so big. The tickets wouldn't cost so much. The media credentials wouldn't be so massive. And everything that goes into putting this production on around that game. The Super Bowl is more than just a game. There's the week that leads up to the Super Bowl on Media Row, all the interviews, everything else, all the commercials, everything else leads up to that Super Bowl. It's more than just a game. You guys that are traditionalist NFL guys, I love you to death, but it is 2023. People want to sit there and get more eyeballs. Usher is a global name, not a USA name. The Super Bowl is a global event. They watch it from the moon, y'all. They watch it from the moon.
And you made excellent points. And I just want to chime in right quick. I know that we're over, but sometimes, when I posted that out there, I put it out there also because I wanted to see just the mentality of American society.
Yep.
The me society and the me. I want this act to be on the Super Bowl halftime show, and I want this act because that pleases me.
Right.
Folks, it's not all about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Super Bowl event and Super Bowl, the whole week is an all-inclusive activity. Okay. It means it encompasses everybody. They want all eyes from all genres of people to come on. Metallica is great. I love Metallica, but you bring the Metallica on at the halftime show, you're going to be alienating a large percentage of your viewership because minorities are not going to stick around for that. I might because I like Metallica, but I'm a small percentage of the minority population that actually is into rock music. Our brothers and sisters though going to be cutting off the TV and go finding something else to do. So when they find an acts, it's not all about you and what you would like. They're all inclusive. And if you don't believe me, go to any business or any chain, especially. And if you don't think they believe in all inclusive, go to the restaurant and go to the bathroom. That's all you got to do.
You can't watch a commercial now without T-Pain being on a Bounty commercial, without them playing all kinds of pop songs in the background and stuff like that. Like, come on now. Yeah, y'all know what it is. I get it. I know what you like. I know what you prefer. But realize that the audience is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. If it wasn't, they wouldn't be playing in Mexico and Germany and looking to do more and more brand global wide initiatives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you got.
I just thought it was really interesting. It's not, it's not all about what you guys want. It's all about what's going to please a large group of folks. Is what I'm trying to say.
And not wanting females. Y'all mean to tell me that if Adele did the show, y'all don't think that would draw some people?
Absolutely. Taylor Swift did the daggone show. I mean, come on.
Beyonce did the halftime show. People wouldn't tune in. What?
Yeah.
What?
Some of the comments were just crazy overboard, but yeah.
I know that it came from Rihanna last year, and I thought Rihanna did a hell of a job, especially being pregnant.
I did too.
So anyway, but hey, I just had to take that point of personal privilege. that because that was just crazy. I think Usher's going to do a good job because he's going to put on a spectacular show. Wouldn't expect anything.
Exactly. He has the catalog. He has the hits. He could fill up the full 15 minutes, which is also very,
my
very
God.
important.
Yep.
But for those that missed the point made about him being in Vegas and having a Vegas residency, I mean, that's some Elvis Presley type stuff, y'all.
Right.
For real. That is not a small deal.
Right.
So,
They don't hand that out to people that can't put butts in seats.
exactly. Yep.
And I mean butts in seats every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All genres, all races, all sexes.
Yeah, he is. He's a performer. People like his dance moves and stuff like that. Chris Brown came up watching Usher and wanted to be the same kind of performer and everything. So, yeah, I know he ain't gonna do it, but if you put Chris Brown and Usher out there at the same time, no,
asses in seats.
That's what it's gonna be. So, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in for another week. We love doing this with y'all every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. streaming live on all of the platforms, and you'll see that at the end of the show. We will catch y'all again next week. See y'all again. Thanks a lot.